this year so far. But basically, we got to get this shared out real quick, so just give us a second here. Like always.
How about everybody introduce themselves?
Good morning, guys. Matt Eisendrath, renowned law student going to San Diego's famous School of California Western. And next to him is Jason Garshfield. Jason, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jason. I'm a guy who occasionally writes stuff that's occasionally published.
Nice. What a modest man.
Modest man.
And then we got Everett, the host of the show.
I'm hosting. We're up. We're shared, so we're good to go.
And then Harrison, GHARZ, event coordinator and producer.
Yep.
DJ.
Yep. We got a lot of news for you guys. Not gonna be too or as big as our last episode, but we wanted to get an episode out for you guys and get talking and everything. So we got everybody introduced. Where we talk about just a quick lockdown recap, and the culture war going on. In politics, and then also the GameStop and the Wall Street bets thing that's going on. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's hop into it. So the first thing we got is just a quick recap on our last episode since we were talking about lockdowns. Okay, and this is from the Washington Post.
Oh boy.
So world leaders pledge a great reset after the pandemic, and people have been called conspiracy theorists for saying that there's going to be a great reset. And we have world leaders saying that they're gonna, use this pandemic and use the coronavirus, emergency to basically change and reform economies all over the world. So it's not a conspiracy theory; it's actually happening. And so this link came from Jason. Was there anything specific you wanted to go over in this one? Because there was a few things I wanted to go over too.
Yeah, there's a very disturbing passage about halfway through where it's interesting because they're kind of adopting the language of populists, where they talk about like some of these things like, every the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poor. They accept that kind of rhetoric, and oh look, there's Greta Thunberg, but
Yeah, what she said. We understand that the world is very complex and that change doesn't happen overnight, but you've now had more than 3 decades of blah, blah, blah. How many more do you need? I don't know what she's talking about here. 3 decades of blah, blah, blah. What is she talking about? Going back to the Reagan era of free market economics? Like, that must be what she's talking about here. The liberal policies that, got enacted back in the 80s.
Refresh my brain. Who's Greta?
Greta Thunberg, she spoke at the...
is that young girl who was...
Yeah, she's a climate activist.
Oh, been influenced.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's very impactful.
Yeah.
Person of the year for 2019. Yeah. Simpler times.
Mm-hmm. So simple, dude. I wish we could go back. Oh.
But so nice. I wrote a piece about that. This is one of my things that was occasionally published, was in Town Hall. I wrote about why stakeholder capitalism isn't capitalism. And if you look at this, it's not just Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum. It's fucking Andrew Yang and Jonathan Haidt, who, if anybody still thinks Andrew Yang and Jonathan Haidt are anything close to out-of-the-box thinkers, I encourage you to watch the podcast with both of them, where they speak very blatantly about how they kind of use their language to manipulate conservatives into accepting left-wing propositions. Like with the UBI, Yang would go to social conservatives who care about the family, and he'd use the, you love your mother's right. You think that working at home is valuable, but that's not covered by the market. So they use their language deceptively. But Yang and Haidt talk about this human-centered capitalism, and their main counterpoint is Milton Friedman, who he wrote... Oh,
yeah, this is at the end of it.
Yeah, the evil Milton Friedman. He wrote an excellent essay, I think, in the New York Times, that the social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. And so that's what they're rebelling against. The thing is, what they're proposing, stakeholder capitalism. Everyone's a stakeholder. Society is a stakeholder. They're proposing socialism by any other name. So I wrote in my piece, there's the story of Abraham Lincoln. It has several iterations, but it's about a little boy who asks how many legs would his calf have if he called the tail a leg. The number is 4. calling a tail a leg doesn't make it a leg. They're proposing something that is, for all intents and purposes, socialism, and they are referring to it as a new, cool, hip type of capitalism, which is infuriating.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can see, they have in the article here, French President Emmanuel Macron declared Tuesday that we will get out of this pandemic only with an economy that thinks more about fighting inequalities. He argued that the financialization of the economy had led to a focus on profits that are not linked to innovation or work. And he goes on to say the capitalist model, together with this open economy, can no longer work in this environment. I don't understand what he's saying. It's not an open economy. It's not a capitalist model either. It's a corporate model, dude. There's no free market here, as we'll get into the GameStop stuff. It's a full corporate model, and they're calling it capitalism, when that's not the case at all. And an open economy, we haven't had an open economy since fucking February of last year. I don't know what the hell he's talking about with this shit.
Such a pattern, and if you read Ayn Rand, she hits the nail on the head in Atlas Shrugged. Like, the socialists would screw things up, then they'd say, oh, look, capitalism has failed, and we must institute more control to get us through the crisis. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, it's all baked into the cake, man. I feel like this is what the whole plan was for the lockdowns and the quarantines were from the beginning. They wanted a full restructuring of the economy, and this really just, puts it on blast. And people calling, us and other people, conspiracy theorists, for saying that there's going to be a great reset, don't understand the facts and don't understand what world leaders are saying. They don't understand what's going to happen if we don't do anything about it. But
look at their words. That's
exactly.
all you need to do. Yeah. Look at their words.
Or I mean, even more their actions. Their bills and policies being put in place all around the world that are just right out of the Communist fucking Party out of China, dude. Yeah. It's just, I mean, and you can go back to our last episode and we talked about this for over an hour, but just wanted to give a little recap on what we talked about and where things are going. Basically, we just have more of this to look forward to. A cool, great reset is on the horizon, which is it's just.
Oh boy, I'm so excited!
It's wonderful, but yeah, but we can get into more fun stuff here. The culture war, oh boy! So if you guys didn't hear about this story last week, stuff's been going crazy. Obviously, the right and the left are at each other's fucking throats, and Politico, which is supposed to be a political newspaper, a political, website that hosts, all kinds of different opinions. They let Ben Shapiro write an editorial for the Playbook, which is one of their biggest editorials, I think. I'm not super up to date on it. I don't know exactly what it is. But basically, he wrote a piece in there, and 100 Politico staffers sent letters to the publisher railing against publishing Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro, he's not even that radical. He's pretty milquetoast conservative, as far as I can tell. Like, I mean, I listen to him, and he's got some obviously a lot more traditional conservative values than I do. Yeah. But he's not radical. Like, he's just a normal conservative. I don't know. What did you guys think about that?
I don't know. I don't think he was very radical, from what I've seen lately.
Yeah, they're pretty milquetoast. Yeah. All of his stuff.
I mean, it wasn't published, right?
No. So Politico published the thing, and then a bunch of people that worked at Politico, they lost their shit that a conservative got to write in their newspaper. I don't think they took it down.
Okay. Well, I didn't get to watch this newest one or read it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. We're not like a super conservative podcast or anything. We're just trying to show the media bias in this. Is the left-wing media won't even let conservatives have a platform to talk, and it's like it's not even that outlandish what they're saying. It's just basic traditional conservative values.
Yeah. It's fucked up.
I don't know. What did you think about that, Jason? This whole story.
What's especially concerning to me is that this never ends.
No.
Nothing breaks this cycle. Trump getting elected didn't break it. Trump getting defeated didn't break it.
No, I remember
we were having this exact same battle in 2016 when I remember right after I graduated, my friends at UCSB tried to invite Ben Shapiro, the Jewish moderate conservative, then Black Student Union called him a Nazi and blah, blah, blah.
Wait, so was that at UCI that they did that? Because I remember Berkeley,
that was at UCSB in 2016, and you can see it got violent. Like some of the BSU were attacking my friends in the college Republicans, and so
Yeah.
Wow.
if you Google UCSB Ben Shapiro college Republicans, or if you look that up on YouTube, you can probably see the footage of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what's most infuriating or exhausting is that this never changes. The battle over Ben Shapiro, the battle over any moderate conservative getting canceled, it's been half a decade now, better part of a decade probably, and nothing ever changes.
Yeah. Well,
and you can explain the marketplace of ideas a million times. Nothing ever changes.
No. I mean, this right here, this attitude, this sentiment is what got Trump elected in the first place. Is because the left are not playing by the same political rules as the right does. The right, in my opinion, are being very, docile. They're trying to play by the old playbook rules of politics. Be respectful. While the left is just fucking fully railroading anything that has to do with the right or conservatives at all. I mean, I remember even back to Bush. And probably even before that, they're calling him a racist, a sexist, homophobe, this all the same rhetoric that they flung at Trump. And, all the fucking, these liberals, these leftists, they look back at Bush with, glossy eyes. But if we were in the same time period, they'd be talking the same shit. And they don't fucking see, they don't look in the mirror and realize their own fucking faults here.
They always love the last Republican.
Exactly.
But do you think they'll do that to Trump?
No.
That's the question.
No, I think Trump was the turning point in the culture war. I think he is the Hitler to the left. I don't think there's a single thing that he could do that could be a good thing. That's very indicative with Trump derangement syndrome and all this.
Dude, for all they care, they think he's a part of fucking the Pizzagate scandal.
Pizzagate, and they think he's a Russian bot.
And they think those
plant or whatever.
nude pictures that they saw of him were real on Facebook or something. That's what it comes down to. Social media. Nobody looks at.
Well,
real
it's
news
really just the media and all the low information people just follow the bullshit bias that the media puts out, and they're just spewing a bunch of shit when there's no one there to throw it back at them. And that's what Trump did. He threw the shit back at him, which it's not a good thing for our republic, and our society for an eye for an eye kind of thinking, because obviously that leaves the whole world blind. But that's why Trump got elected, because he would actually throw shit back. But it's just
he was what they said Mitt Romney was.
Exactly.
Which was what?
Racist, homophobe, sexist, all that, right?
I wouldn't say Trump was all that sexist or anything. I
Well,
say racist, but he was much closer to what they said Mitt Romney was. And you remember, this is a moment, I was a Democrat. The 2012 debate, they asked, what about women's rights? Blah, blah, blah. So they never remember the other half of the human race. But they asked Obama about women. And so Mitt Romney started out by saying binders full of women when he was governor of Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Cabinet. And so he asked his aides, and they brought him binders full of women. Okay, awkward turn of phrase, but Democrats took that seriously. And when I was campaigning with the Democratic Party in Santa Barbara, there was Hannah Beth Jackson. She's the worst of the worst in terms of the California State Assembly. She came to us and she said, one candidate says women want to have rights, women should have rights. The other candidate wants women in binders. So they took that seriously.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
I remember that. Now that
it's fucking insane.
Damn, that's weird.
The rhetoric that they throw at the right, at anybody on the right, is just, it's so much like there's no comparison to anybody on the left except for maybe Tulsi Gabbard, which they called her a Russian bot and disinformationist or whatever they tried to call her.
Yeah.
But
good old Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, but the media didn't even really pick up on that too much. That's the only modern leftist that I can think of that the media kind of turned on in a way.
I mean, you also got to take into consideration that it's a tactic just to get your name out there by Republicans. So even if they know that they're going to bait a lot of controversy with something they say or some number that they put out, just having that on MSNBC and other is free advertising for them.
Yeah.
So it seems like, natural recourse 1-for-1 might not be the best play for a lot of these conservative politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of what they have to understand. Is they're obviously not playing by the same rule book, and the media is only going to cover for the Democrats. So the right and the conservatives have to find a different way to get around it. Because obviously, when the right acted like the left did with the Capitol riots, everybody blew up, lost their minds, said it was the worst thing. I mean, Pelosi said it was, literally, she said it was the worst thing that happened to our republic ever. There was no addendum onto that. There was no, she didn't clarify at all. She said it was the worst thing that happened. And to call what happened at the Capitol the worst thing that happened is ignoring so much fucking history.
Like the Civil War?
Because the Civil War.
Well, stuff that they're always reminding us of, too.
Exactly. The Trail of
America's
Tears.
failures.
Fucking Japanese internment. Like, there's so much things worse than that what happened at the Capitol. And even what happened at the Capitol.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. She was saying the Japanese internment doesn't matter.
Yeah?
I don't think so, dude. I think she was
no. That's
verbally.
I'm not.
I think you're being
Well,
overcritical now.
Hold on. I think she would.
Man.
I think if you actually asked Pelosi this question, she would say yes. She would say that the Capitol riots were worse than the Japanese internment. I would put a bet on that right now because Pelosi's a fucking crazy partisan.
He probably would.
I'd bet on it.
$100 saying Capitol riot is worse than Japanese internment. If you
I would bet on it. I would bet that Pelosi would say that because she's a rabid fucking partisan.
Right now.
Yeah,
$100.
$100. All right. Well, if we can get this to Pelosi somehow, anybody watching or 4 people watching has connections to Pelosi.
You know Japanese internment.
Somebody's got to make a bet.
We want to hear this.
See, at least in the Japanese internment, Pelosi's laptop wasn't stolen.
See that? It was personal for her, dude. It was fucking personal.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, but anyway.
I think fucking AOC we'll get to her later. Don't
Yeah.
Seeing her get all, we need therapy and all this for the people, all the staffers. Get a life.
She's taking us to the moon, alright?
Taking us to the moon, dude.
GME stock.
The only people that are taking us to the moon is SpaceX. Fuck.
Yeah.
Elon Musk over here.
So that was why he backed the thing anyway.
To the moon!
Yeah.
That's the only way we're getting there. Right in the stocks all the way.
That's pretty good.
But anyways, we got this next link is just talking more about the culture war. And we were already talking about this. Media treats Trump teams like dogs, Biden's team like puppies. This is just an opinion. But, obviously we've already been given our opinion. But it's very clear to see that, you turn on the mainstream media things. I mean, even Fox now is kind of turning on Trump and Trumpy people that...
A lot of people are leaving Fox, dude. They're going over to Newsmax.
Yeah, Newsmax and
they feel like Fox is bought and paid for.
Well, they're just another they're not about getting news out. They're about profits. That's what makes these big corporate media fucking companies so bad. Is that they're not out to distribute information. They're there to make a profit. Which, a business model isn't necessarily a bad thing. A profit motive isn't bad, but a profit motive around information and getting information to the public that they need is, it's corrupting our society at the base level because the media, they're supposed to be the watchdogs. They're supposed to be watching all this shit happen. And if we're getting a biased viewpoint of what's happening, then we're not going to know what's going on. We don't know how to vote. Society just starts collapsing. And I don't, this media thing has been going on for over 20 years now, and it's been getting worse and worse, and obviously we're at the pinnacle of it now with everything falling down. But yeah, it's so obvious what the media, their motives are, and they're not looking out for you, me. They're only looking out for themselves and the elitists that are in their pocket. So
for sure, that makes sense.
Definitely.
Why would they give a fuck about you?
Well, see, in a normal marketplace, they would want to be competing for our dollars, in a good way, and in a media kind of sense, where they would be competing with the best information. But instead of the best information, they're competing with, with how shocking something can be, which is, this is entertainment. This isn't news. We have lost our news, basically apparatus in favor of a more entertainment thing. I think it's just, the education system, people are lazy. They don't want to look into what's going on. It's obviously hard and, it's not easy thing knowing everything that's going on, but it's something you have to do as an adult to make rational, good decisions. And if you don't have the right information, you're not going to make the right decisions. So, and that's what's happening.
You're being purposely misled in the media, too. So it's I don't know.
Exactly.
Can you say a couple of sources that you think would be more non-biased, that you could look up political facts? No? Not a single one, huh?
No.
all that.
Not anything that's non-biased. What you have to do right now is you have to get your news from everywhere. Like what I do is I go to Wall Street Journal, which is more right, then I go to Politico and The Hill and New York Times, and then I go over to the conservative things. I watch Ben Shapiro, listen to Glenn Beck, and then I go to the moderate stuff. Watch Tim Pool, Glenn Greenwald, which he's on the left, but Dave Rubin, some of those sources. So you have to get a full picture, and the only way to do that is by getting a little bit from all the sides. In the political spectrum. If you're only getting your news from one source or one side of the spectrum, you're not getting the full story, obviously. And but going along that, there is no unbiased media right now. I think there used to be, but there's just nothing I can really think of now. What about you, Jason? Is there anything you can really think of? Like, what do you do for news?
In the words of Sarah Palin, all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of absorb it. I'm not doing Twitter that much anymore. I took it off my phone, but yeah, I look at the MSN, whatever's on my homepage that day. If something's going on, it'll trickle its way down. But I don't. There is no source. There used to be Walter Cronkite. Everybody loved him, apparently.
Yeah, that was the big one. Everyone always talks about.
There's nothing that's unbiased. There's nothing that hasn't been caught up in the culture war that doesn't have a clear agenda one way or the other. At least the conservatives are honest about it, though.
Exactly. Yeah, they're honest about it. They'll tell you straight up that they're biased, and that they're pushing their own narratives. But at the same time, you'll have the leftist media saying the complete opposite.
They're like, we don't have a bias. We're not pushing an agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if they have, I think Stephen Colbert best encapsulated that form of thinking when he said that truth has a well-known liberal bias. So they think
dude. Yeah.
That's what they think. They think they're biased, but they think that
they think it's right. They think they're morally correct in what they're feeling, and it's the most destructive thought is thinking that their own confirmations, your own biased confirmations, are strictly fact. Like I have a lot of very strong opinions, but I understand that they're opinions, and I'm not saying that my mind can be changed. I mean, obviously it can, but some people they don't want to take in any information that challenges their pre-held beliefs, and that's one of the most destructive things about human nature. Really, is that you don't want to challenge yourself. And, I think social media and everything else is reinforcing that bad aspect of human nature.
Well, not only that, just like, the goal is to embarrass people now for thinking differently than you. If you look at the conservative pages, if you look at the liberal pages, they're like, look at this idiot.
Exactly.
It's like, dude, just allow someone to be wrong about something.
Yeah.
You got to be a dick about it, about every single thing. Like, come on.
What I understood years ago is that we all have different worldviews. We all got, grew up differently. So there are some things that people just aren't going to change their mind on. And that's because of their upbringing. Not necessarily that, but, the way, it goes to what the word means, their worldview, how they see the world. And you just have to accept that there's going to be things you can't agree on. And I think we're pushing more and more to a place in society where we can't agree to disagree, and that's a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah, it's really bad. That's when people get in fights.
Exactly. So
Well, I think that's ultimately because Democrats made politics into a winner-take-all sport under Obama.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what you saw with Obamacare. There's, I don't think ever, maybe since the Reconstruction era, been a piece of legislation that big passed without a single vote from the other side, and rather than wondering why nobody on the other side voted for it, they called the Republicans obstructionists.
Yep.
Then there was gay marriage. Obama was against gay marriage publicly until 2012. Then he was for it. Then 3 years later, if you held the position that Obama had held 3 years previously, you could now go to prison as the clerk. I think her name was Kim Davis, some clerk in Kentucky didn't want to give a gay marriage license.
What?
The first thing, this was a huge victory for the left, for the pro-gay marriage faction. It had changed within less than a decade. It had gone from deeply unpopular to deeply popular.
Yeah, I mean,
and they should have been thrilled that they got 100% of what they wanted at the Supreme Court. Instead, the first thing they did was start mopping up the remaining dissenters.
Yep.
So it sent the message, there's no room for losers in American politics, especially if you're conservative. And that was the same month they went after the Confederate flag too. So the message was reinforced. There's no room for losers. If you're a Republican, you better fight to the death. And so guess what? Next year, we got the Flight 93 election.
Yeah.
But we got some comments. What were you saying? So Nicholas Utter, he was talking about total deaths. So Nick, if you wanted to go back and watch our COVID episodes, if you're still watching here, we did a whole episode on COVID science, and we actually talked about total deaths specifically. So if you want to go back, I think it's episode 3, the science of COVID. We talked like fully talked about all of the COVID science, and then our last episode we talked about all the lockdowns and stuff.
Lots of great information in there.
Yeah, it's like we went
very broad spectrum.
Yeah, like if you just want to get a full science perspective, then just go watch episode 3 because that's the baseline science, all the facts and stuff. But yeah, we're doing culture war and GameStop stuff. So if you guys wanted to ask a question about that, be all about it. So let's keep it rolling here. So now we're getting into executive orders. So Biden basically broke the bank on this one. He set the new record for amount of executive orders in the first day in the first week. So I think in the first day it was, I might be wrong on this, but it might be 22 executive orders that he signed on the first day. When Clinton, I'm pretty sure Clinton signed 1, Bush didn't sign any, Obama signed 1, Obama I think signed 4 or 5, and Trump signed 1, and Biden now is up to 22 in his first week, which is just, it's fucking insane because Biden just a few, I think
how many, 42?
I think it's up to 42 now.
Oh, fuck.
But basically Biden was saying, I'm not sure if this was before the election. I think it was before the election when he was talking to George Stephanopoulos about this. He said that presidents cannot rule by executive order. That would make them dictators. And look what he's doing now. He's ruling by decree, by executive order. And, I don't agree with most of these, but, let's just go through a couple of them here. So he rejoined the Paris Agreement. He promotes racial equality, teaching critical race theory. Don't agree with that.
Wasn't that taken out?
What?
The critical race
theory? Yeah,
theory?
Trump signed an executive order for it. Now he's putting it back in. Obviously, I don't support executive orders, doing anything by executive order. I think it's a last resort kind of thing. It should be used, in an emergency when you really can't get anything, when you need to get something done within, a couple hours, when you can't wait on the legislature to, do their thing for weeks. So it's not how our republic should be run. Laws are passed by the legislature and are enforced by the executive. Laws are not made by the executive. That breaks our system, and this is system breaking what's happening. So let's just go a couple more. So he ends the ban on U.S. entry from majority Muslim countries, and this is a big thing with Trump, saying that he banned Muslims from coming in the country when it was really just countries that had big insurrection, stuff that happening during the whole Syria conflict and ISIS and whatnot. And it wasn't even all of the Muslim world. It was only a couple countries that had really bad, stuff going on with ISIS and whatnot. But
most of the largest Muslim countries weren't on the list.
Yeah, I think Saudi Arabia wasn't on the list, and they're the biggest Muslim country in the world. So
Indonesia's the biggest Muslim majority country, I believe.
Okay, and they weren't on the list, right? Or were they?
Yeah, no, they weren't.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Iran
really
was weird.
I think the biggest on the list.
Yeah. But I mean, basically, what they did, or what the leftist media did with all this, they're completely biased about this. They called it a Muslim ban when it wasn't a Muslim ban. It was a ban from these countries. And having to defend Trump on this made me fucking crazy because I don't agree with this policy. I don't agree with banning travel from countries. I don't. Like, as a libertarian, you have a right to human travel. And I had to defend Trump on the fact that the left was calling it a Muslim ban when it wasn't. When I didn't even agree with the policy, I was just pointing out the leftist lies that they were trying to, paint this president out to be something he wasn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
And guess what? Later on in this list of executive orders, Biden, I think he implements. I have to find the exact text, but I think he implements a new travel ban.
Oh yeah. It was a travel ban on South Africa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why South Africa?
Because there was a new variant of COVID.
Yeah, a new variant. This thing has been around for a year. Within 1 month of the vaccine being widely distributed, we suddenly get 5 scary new variants that don't respond to the vaccine.
Okay, so this is the thing that drives me crazy, because the variants have been here since the beginning, but now since all of the talk and Trump is out, now that they have to turn to something else, now they're talking about the variants. You're completely right on that. The variants have been here for months. It doesn't, there's no stop sign on mutations in biology, in politics. There's no, it just happens. There's no way to stop it. And I don't know, the bias and the rhetoric and the narrative that they're trying to paint with it, it drives me mad. It drives me fucking insane.
Proclamation reinstating COVID-19 travel restrictions. Let's see. Additionally, the bar will ban most non-U.S. citizens from entry if they have recently been in South Africa. Sounds like Biden has a black ban.
We have kind of a question and statement from Brody, who says, I don't understand how Biden was supposed to bring our divided country together by doing all this. Wasn't that the biggest selling point?
Well, they got Biden in because he was the return to normalcy candidate. But as we can see, this is not normal. This is the world record amount of executive orders being passed is not normal. This is the continuation of this whole fucking culture bullshit that's been going on since, probably right when Obama got in, because I think Obama, he was supposed to fix all this crap because he was the first black president, and a lot of people have a lot more delved out views on this than me. But really, he was supposed to be the ending of this crap, but he ramped all of our racial rhetoric back up, and it was really sad because we were almost out of this racial, political partisan bullshit that we were in, and we got thrown so hard back into it
because everybody was pretty brought together the past 8 years before that from 9/11. At least they were brought together for something that was kind of like that, but then the government still went in, Patriot acted, took advantage of the moment like they did with COVID.
And everybody was against that too. Same with when Wall Street started. Tim Pool talks about this a little bit, how there were conservatives, there were libertarians, there were leftists, there were anarchists, communists, all on the same page when Wall Street, when the Occupy movement started. But then once the elites and stuff, they got their media tendrils into it, they made everybody get divided and made us, think about these petty differences that we have that don't fucking matter to, our political climate, what we really need to answer. And we're not trying to shit on Biden here, but it's part of the culture war, and there's an obvious strong divide here, and the goal with this podcast and everything is to try to bring everybody together, get people information. We don't want to be at each other's throats, we want to figure this shit out before shit goes down, so not ragging on Biden, but he's not slowing any of this down like they said he would.
And then there's another one from Nicholas.
I'll give Biden a chance.
That's what I'm doing right now, but we'll see. But we have another one. China is genociding Muslims. So I think that was another one based on one of his executive orders that's about the Muslim countries, right?
I don't think so. Well,
wouldn't that be a related question? Because it's kind of vague.
Well, this is something that we need to talk about. I think I want to do a whole show on this because people need to be bringing more attention to the genocide that's going on in China right now with the Uyghur Muslims. But that's a different topic for a different day. But obviously, it's
a terrible thing. It needs its own hour.
That's a whole topic to get into. But just a bunch of executive orders.
And then Brody has another question. Do they mean new variant of coronavirus or COVID-19? I've had a Lysol disinfected wipes that I've had been killing coronavirus for years. Variants have always existed.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
So the variants is just means a single point mutation change in the genetic makeup of the virus, which is not going to cause a big change. Some of these point mutations, they can cause the virus to become more virulent, more deadly. But as we've seen from the data, it hasn't been shown to be more deadly from anything the data has been, putting out. It's only been shown to be more virulent. So, but yeah.
Well, I wonder if that's it evolving to get around social distancing.
I think you're right, man.
Yeah?
It's growing a brain.
It's colluding. The COVID is colluding with the Democrats.
Who would win? A year of government restrictions or one infectious boy?
You know my answer.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, let's keep going on the links here on the culture war.
There's one other bad executive order. One other interesting executive order.
One more.
The COVID-19 Health Equity Task Force will provide recommendation on the allocation of resources and funding in light of disparities in COVID-19 outcomes by race, ethnicity, and other factors.
This is just
that's bullshit.
It's racist policy.
Here's the thing. I want this COVID Health Equity Task Force to write a whole report on giving resources preferentially to men, because science shows are disproportionately affected by the virus.
Yeah,
I'm sure that Joe Biden takes this very seriously. He wants to help the hardest hit groups, so he will be giving preferential resources to men.
Because hey man, we don't live as long, man, and I'm pretty sure I read something. The coronavirus affects men more than women.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm pulling that out.
Yeah, I've heard it has reproductive.
I do notice Biden
consequences.
didn't do anything with campus sexual assault stuff, which he was instrumental in taking the process. I've spoken about that a lot before, and that was his big issue. And none of these executive orders address that, so hopefully he's kind of quietly given that one up.
Oh, are you talking about Title IX stuff?
Yeah.
That's...
I mean, it would be hard to do by executive order, but still, he would make some kind of statement about it. So hopefully he's given that one up.
Yeah, it's fucking scary, man. Yeah, let's get on to the next link here. Fucking continuing with the culture war. So this is a really funny story, to be honest. So Trump, he opens the office of the former president in Florida, and I think this is partially in response to when Biden opened up the office of the president-elect. So both of these offices, they're not real, they're not legit. This is made up phooey that's happening right now, and it's insane because Biden did it, so of course Trump has to do it. He's the one fighting back on all this culture war bullshit. So it's just office of the former president. So let's read the first paragraph of this. So former President Donald Trump announced on Monday the official opening of the office of the former president in Palm Beach County, Florida, which is tasked with overseeing the 45th president's official activities in his post-presidency life. So I guess we have an office of the former president now. Where's Bush and Obama and fucking Clinton's office of the former president?
I know, they're all in the same one, just playing like ping pong.
They should all come into the same place and just I don't know, have like a
bingo.
Yeah, bingo night or something. A boomer game.
Hate Trump though.
Oh man.
What did you say, Jason?
They all hate Trump. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, it's true.
You see the media will share there's the picture of Trump at H.W. Bush's funeral, and he's kind of sitting awkwardly there. There's the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bushes.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like people share that and they think that makes Trump look bad. But what makes, people elected Obama because they wanted to change. Now they see him palling around with George W. Bush. If you're sharing Trump being an outcast among other presidents and thinking that makes him look bad, that shows a great deal of out-of-touchness.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this.
I think it's pretty funny.
I
think it's a joke.
Well, it's a troll for sure.
I think he's just trying to throw it in Biden's face, and his fucking advertising and marketing team were like, go for it. Why not?
Because I mean,
how do you think he's going to communicate with no Twitter?
That's true. They actually talk about this in the article.
His
that they
Twitter's still
got
banned?
his Twitter shut. Well, yeah, Twitter's still shut down. The
How's
Facebook's
that
gone.
thing? Is Obama's Twitter still up?
Well, they're private companies. They can do what they want, right?
Fucking lol. Yeah, I mean, you are right, but it's the size of fucking half the world, basically. So.
I heard a good argument for this actually.
It's like a social
I used to
monopoly.
support it's a private company. They should be allowed to ban anyone for any reason.
Oh.
But I heard Mudahar.
Mudahar. I love
if you guys-
Mudahar.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good guy. He said that this is basically the open square of the modern day, and to be able to stop someone from speaking on those platforms is the same as not allowing them to speak in a public forum.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's hard to contend with, especially during COVID times where you're not really able to
Even go
reach
out.
anybody.
So
Yeah, you can go out.
So then, on those lines, would you advocate for like a government-run social media? If I don't know.
That seems like it would be shitty.
It will. I mean,
In general.
yeah. But I mean, that's like the logical conclusion to this stuff. Like if you do make the argument that these social media sites are now the public square, and the government is the arbitrator of the public square, that only leads to the logical conclusion that they're going to be the ones regulating this public
You
square.
have to make like an FDA for social media.
I think the whole problem here is what conservative media keeps talking about is Section 230. We need to reform Section 230 to make these platforms into actual platforms and make them follow the actual FCA policy. Because they're not following the policy. They're basically being publishers and approving and disapproving certain things that are said on their platform when it's supposed to be a platform, not a publisher. That's why people can say what they want and not get Twitter sued for what they say, is because they're technically a platform. And I think really that's what needs to be done. Trump said to get rid of Section 230. I think that would make the problem even worse. But I think a good reform into saying what social medias are and how they need to act as actual platforms rather than publishers. So I think that's the smartest way to go on the issue. But I don't know. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say on the office of the former president?
No, not right now. I think it's a funny move, definitely. But I gotta go right now. I have an appointment. But thanks for having me on the show.
Gotcha.
I'll see you next time, guys. Always a good time.
All right, later, Matt. Thanks for hanging around.
Later. Thanks for having me.
Yeet. All right, and then so we'll hop into our last culture war one. So this is a crazy story. You sent me this, Jason. So the QAnon shaman says he's willing to testify at Trump's impeachment trial against the president. And a few points from the article says the shaman, real name Jacob Chansley, said he'd speak at Trump's impeachment trial next month. And his lawyer said his client used to love the former president, but now feels let down because he didn't receive a presidential pardon. And he's to be arraigned on charges related to the Capitol insurrection on Friday. Trump's impeachment trial is set to begin on February 8th. So he's actually going to testify against the president in the impeachment trial, which is...
What?
I don't know what to say about this, really. I was trying to think about what to say about this the whole, all day today. I just...
It's just like a mockery of our fucking judicial system.
I don't like.
It's just fucking. I'm sorry, language. Just that's ridiculous.
I don't know what to say. It almost seems like a setup.
It's definitely set up. Like I don't know.
that this guy. I mean, everybody was talking about him going to BLM stuff before, and that he had, and he, you can find that he did. But I don't think he was a BLM person. He's just I think he's honestly more just kind of kooky, radical, and is down to do.
He's just one of those people who will jump on anything anti-establishment.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the sort that's easily taken in by rhetoric.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you've been in politics on any side, you've met quite a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I thought this one was interesting because either Trump should be impeached or this guy should go to prison, but you can't have both. Either Trump incited him, in which case this guy should get off with a slap on the wrist because he was acting under orders from his president, or in which case Trump should be impeached, or else this guy should go to prison for a long time and Trump should be acquitted. But you can't have both. Democrats can't have a situation in which both Chansley and Trump are punished fully for their actions because they one is responsible or the other, but they can't both share full responsibility.
No, it's it's just it's insane. And going back to what the president said on January 6th, he said march peaceably to the Capitol to protest. Or I mean, I don't know if those are exact words, but he said peaceably go over there. So
yeah, he said peacefully.
A lot of
I do think like he's good at reading crowds. He knew what he was.
Yeah. I think he knew as well, and I think they do make a good argument that he should have said more. He should have did more to stop what was going on. But it's not like he did nothing. Like he told them not to go in. I'm pretty sure he sent requests to get the National Guard in there. I'm not sure on that story because the media was saying that the mayor did it, but I don't know if the mayor can order it. But
supposedly it was Pence.
Yeah, Pence or something. But it's just a very odd situation. Like that whole Capitol thing. Like what we were saying last week about it. That the right acts like the left for a day and get just demolished for it in the media. Because this is the kind of stuff we saw all over across the country, for months with the BLM riots, and I was part of the BLM riots. We were right there on the fucking front lines, and not saying that. We should tell you about that, Jason. That was actually our first episode.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm for most of those things that they're for. But once they started getting to like racial divides and all this, it was just crazy. And it seems like. This is just another guy that got into all the protests and just took it way too far, and he just shouldn't. I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but I don't know. This is just, it's so crazy what is going on and how the media is treating everything and how biased people are being, but
yeah. Well, with BLM, it started off with some productive talk about police reform. And then it devolved very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the same thing I was just talking about, the Occupy Wall Street thing. You had everybody there in the first couple days. You had conservatives, libertarians, anarchists, communists. Me and Harry were on the ground the first week, and there was literally everybody there. There were Trump people, there were Biden people, there were anarchists, there were communists, there were racists. Well, maybe not racist. Maybe those are the only people who weren't there.
There were racists, just not the kind of racists that you would think.
Yeah. Well, I experienced the only racism that I've experienced in slow at that protest.
Yeah.
Being white, I was called out for being white and speaking out, which is it's racist. It's you're assuming I have either superior inferiority in my beliefs because of my skin color. There's no other way to say it. So I don't know. But getting back on this subject, it's just insane what the media can get away with. Obviously I don't condone anything that happened in the Capitol, but the fact that they didn't throw the same kind of shade on the whole everything that happened for months before that is it's completely indicative of what of what their narrative is and what kind of rhetoric they're trying to back. But yeah. So did you have anything else to say on that before we get into the GameStop stuff?
Oh no, I did my main point, which is that either Trump is responsible or Chansley's responsible. But it can't be both. Yeah,
definitely. All right, and getting on to the story of the week. This is the one that everybody's been talking about, the big freak, the blow up thing, and just crazy what happened. So for those of you that don't know, this is a big thing with GameStop. So AMC GameStop stock go wild, Reddit's insane train wreck, Ponzi scheme, as they call it. So I don't want to go through this whole article, but basically what happened, I'm sure you guys have heard this on a lot of other shows, so I'm just going to go through it real quick so you have a basic understanding of what happened. A bunch of hedge funders were short selling the GameStop stock. They thought it was overvalued from where it was. So what they did was borrow stocks from people that had the stocks and they sold those stocks immediately, promising that they would get the stocks back to the person they borrowed them to, thinking that they would go down in price because they had all the stocks and they were selling all of them. Reddit got a hold of this information, so they did a short squeeze, which is the opposite. So they dumped all of their money, of all these little individual traders into GameStop, basically short squeezing it and driving the price up. So all these hedge fund people, they lost so much money because every stock that they bought at $10 that they thought they were going to be able to sell back to the borrower at $1 or something, they now have to pay $300 for a stock. So in effect, they're losing $290 or whatever per stock. So for a few stories were put out this week saying that it was over like $70 billion had been lost by hedge fund groups alone, which is just an insane fucking amount of money.
So hedge fund groups are basically just like a group that puts stocks into a certain area that they think is doing good, and
so
did it just go wrong this time?
No,
so it's usually supposed to go right, but now
no. See, the thing is, because the hedge funds are usually the only players in this. Hedge funds and day traders.
But they borrowed money in this circumstance.
They borrowed stocks.
They borrowed stocks, yes.
They borrowed the stocks and they sold the stocks, thinking that the stocks would go down and be able to sell them back for lower than they bought them for.
Okay, all right.
But the opposite happened. Now they have to buy them back for more than they bought them for, so they're losing money.
Which drives up stocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so basically, the whole thing with this is that Reddit figured this out, and we wanted to stick it to the man, stick it to the these hedgies, as we like to call them, and basically do kind of the market manipulation that they do on a daily basis. But instead of them doing it, it's now the little guys doing it on a massively coordinated effort, and this is what just drove the elites crazy. So do you want to add anything quick on that before getting the numbers here, Jason?
Well, I think it's very funny because it's an inverse, in a way, of the toilet paper panic from a year ago.
Yeah.
And nobody pointed this out, and I'm not an economic genius, so maybe I'm missing some vital component here. But a year ago, with the toilet paper, there was essentially a run on the toilet paper because there was not enough toilet paper in the stores to accommodate every single person going out and buying 3 rolls. So this panic started, I think, over a single viral video of people fighting over toilet paper.
Yeah.
And we were scared. I think it was like in Batman Begins where like the Scarecrow did that thing and everyone got really scared and then Batman showed up. But like our government implemented these lockdowns, which even I was kind of okay with at first, based on fear.
Yeah,
and it was that fear which led to the toilet paper mob and empty shelves, and I was seeing that even when lockdown started again this fall. And I knew when I went and I grabbed the stuff, I knew that I was being stupid, and I knew I was participating in something that was negative, but I couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
I had to be part of it. You have no choice. You've got to grab it, or else someone else is going to grab it.
Yeah. I mean, we were all part of it, dude. I mean, I remember.
Yep.
Like when it happened here, all the Dollar Tree was out of toilet paper, Vons was out of toilet paper. What did we do? We started I started cutting paper towel rolls in thirds.
Yeah.
Oh man. So fortunately, it's funny because I was living in Arizona right before this happened, and when I went back for Thanksgiving, I was dead broke in Arizona. So when I went back for Thanksgiving, my mom gave me a huge, giant Costco-sized plastic thing of toilet paper, and I moved out of Arizona very quickly for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
All of them legal, don't worry. But I remember I was packing all my stuff. There was no room in my car, and I thought, should I take this giant toilet paper package? And I did. So that decision saved me a lot of pain.
That's
literally
good.
And figuratively.
That's good.
But yeah, I got a good glimpse at what people don't want to buy in grocery stores. It's like it was the cheddar and broccoli rice was the only rice left on the shelves.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little vote. Taught me a lot about food preferences.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. That only worked because the supply chain doesn't have enough to feed everybody if everyone wants to be fed, just like a bank, another bank before the FDIC. But that's what's happening now. This stuff is being grabbed up, and so I understand the problem with GameStop is they bought more than 100% of the stock.
Yeah.
The thing is, when they have to sell 100% of the stock, the bluff is called, and that's essentially the toilet paper problem in reverse, except now it's happening to the big guy.
Exactly, and they hate it. They fucking hate it. Like I've been seeing all those pictures of how the Occupy protests back in 2008, how the Wall Street, the Wall Street people were up in there fucking up in the trade building or whatever it is, looking down on all the protesters, laughing, drinking champagne, all that shit, while they're making millions and everybody's fucking, struggling for work out here. I was just a kid during the recession, but I definitely remember a lot of people talking. People still talk about it, losing their jobs and losing their incomes and 401ks and all that, and we're finally sticking it back to the elitists that did the same thing to us. And is it a good thing? I don't know if it's a good thing, but it's fair. I would say
I don't have a problem with anyone earning money, and I don't have a problem with anyone earning money in the stock market, which is a perfectly legitimate function of the free market. I have a problem with these people not profiting off of a system which is not a free market, where the whole goddamn country is closed. They're doing well. They should be using their power and their influence to fight for our freedom. They haven't done a damn thing for us because this system is working well for them right now. Guess what? Turns out when you lock everyone in their houses, the autism does come back to you sooner or later. So this is beautiful karma. They've forced this shit on us. Now it's coming after them.
Exactly.
And then they try to shut down the app where people were trying to buy it off?
Yes, we'll get into that. But
get to that.
I wanted to get into just a little bit of the numbers. So it was at, I believe the stock was at $3 back in August?
Yeah, because GameStop was doing horrible.
Well, obviously it's a brick and mortar game store, so obviously they're on the downtrend.
Yeah, it's like Hollywood Video. It's gonna be gone someday.
And within a couple months it was $20, and then this last week it jumped up to So it jumped up to $492 per share, only to go back down. It got halved a minute later, and then it closed trading on Friday at $325, which is it's fucking crazy.
Fuck.
That amount of money, the market cap on that's basically Tesla. Or I mean, they were talking about how GameStop had the biggest market cap in the stock market this week, beating out Tesla, beating out Apple, and these are all stocks that have the same. But okay, let me preface this whole episode first. None of us are financial advisors. We have no financial experience, so don't take our advice. These are just all opinions. So we don't have any legal.
We're just a bunch of young Americans in our 20s. Don't take advice.
Yeah, don't take. This is not financial advice. We're giving opinions. So it's the one disclaimer.
Right.
Arizona. That's one piece of financial advice.
Don't move there.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, but okay. So yeah, basically it's been hopping all over the place. I should have got open my Robinhood app right now just to see what it was at right now. I think it's at 197, like they said. I think it's at a 200. I think.
It's that far down already?
Yeah. Well, I mean, fucking. So let's get into the what Robinhood did. So, because this is all connected. So basically, what happened? I have Robinhood. So this is what Forbes says. Oh my god, this freaking... Oh, I hate these freaking ads, dude. I hate it. Oh my god, do I really have to disable my ad blocker on this one? Don't tell me I have to. Okay, so...
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to pad tie them alone.
God damn. Okay, fucking hell, I might just have to disable the ad blocker on this one. Sorry, everybody. It's gonna take just 2 seconds. God.
Talk to your pad thai today to see if pad thai is right for pad thai. When all you can think of to pad thai is think about Postmates.
God. Okay, so the title of this article, we can finally get to it. So as Robinhood shuts down GameStop shares, demand emerges for decentralized censorship-resistant trading. We won't be getting too much into the decentralized trading, but I basically just want to talk about how Robinhood, Webull, a few other places, TD Ameritrade, they all shut down buying of GameStop. So let's just read the first article, or first paragraph, just so you guys have an idea. So with the ongoing saga of GameStop shares surging as a result of our Wall Street Bet subreddit, Robinhood and other trading platforms such as Webull and Apex Holdings have refused to allow the buying of more GameStop shares. Webull cited extreme volatility, and its clearing firm refused to honor any more clearance. Webull users were now forced to only liquidate or sell GME, as well as a number of other stocks that were adjacent to the same short squeeze strategy. So Robinhood also cited extreme volatility as part of their blog post on the situation. So I got this message that Robinhood said there was extreme volatility in the markets and basically not letting us do anything on it. Well, not anything, but this is my story. So it was Wednesday. I think. I started hearing about all this news on GameStop. I've been in the stock market for a while. I didn't have any GameStop because that was just one thing I probably would have never put money in just because of where it was going as a business. But so I put in $50, I think. So not financial advice, but I put in $50 Wednesday night, and Thursday morning I woke up saying they had canceled my transaction. So if I would have had that money in, I could have made money because I think it shot back up to $400 that day or something. So I could have literally made like I don't know, like $5 or $6 if I would have been able to put in, and they completely restricted my access to do that. And they reinstated it two days later, I think. So now on Robinhood, you can only buy 5 shares maximum, and you cannot buy fractional shares, which is the whole point of Robinhood, is to buy fractional shares because, for little people, it's hard to buy a whole share of something, especially when it's hundreds of dollars, with, and that's what they know. That's what they explicitly know now with us little people, is we don't have a lot of money to put in this stuff, so they wanted to cut it down to only buying full shares, and they don't, or they understand that not everybody has just $300, $400 to throw away. So I think that, in my opinion, that's why they did, only allowed full shares to be bought, which is just completely fucking bullshit. It's market manipulation, and on top of that, during this whole thing, they said that the only thing you could do was sell, which was only going to drive the prices down, which is just, it's complete blatant market manipulation. Just taking money away from all these people who have money in Robinhood, or not Robinhood, but GameStop, because they can't buy shares, because the only way a stock goes up is if it has shares to buy. So it's market manipulation. It's bullshit. They're having a class action lawsuit. Hopefully I get something from that class action lawsuit. Fingers crossed. It'd be dope. But yeah, what about you, Jason? Are you in the stock market at all? Have you downloaded?
Well, I bought some Dogecoin.
Yeah, same, dude.
Oh,
Same.
I've actually never bought a stock, but I probably should. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be part of the stock market, but
yeah,
my dad advised against it. His parents were Great Depression children, so it's kind of not in the family, and so I tried to buy a fractional share and it didn't let me. So I bought some Dogecoin at like 3 cents. So maybe when Dogecoin gets to $1, I'll get a windfall, which I'm sure is totally going to happen. But as far as, so I understand the class action lawsuit. What someone was telling me, a friend of mine was saying, is that they probably engaged in, it would be insider trading, I think.
Yeah, it basically is.
Yeah. What they decided, risk-benefit analysis, cost-benefit analysis, was that paying a fine for insider trading, paying off some people in this lawsuit, and then going to a nice, comfy, white-collar prison would be a better option than losing the billions that they would have lost if the scam had, not the scam, the Reddit,
the racketeering, whatever.
If that had gone through all the way.
Yeah, it's exactly what they're doing, and they already have, I bet they already have people lined up to go to prison for them too, and they're going to pay out millions and billions too, and it's a full cost benefit analysis, because they're fully willing to take any legal ramifications from this as long as they don't lose their billions, dude. And they knew exactly what they were doing, and so many people were on their side about this. Even Elizabeth Warren came out against Wall Street bets, which is just fucking insane, because she always likes to claim that she's for the little person. But
she came out against Wall Street bets.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear about that? Yeah, they was calling Wall Street bets like a hate group. I think.
Oh man, see, with Warren, she was consistently anti-Wall Street to the point where if she'd been the nominee, the Wall Street donations, we'll get to that in a bit, but the Wall Street donations would have gone to Trump. So yes.
Well, that's what. I think that's what she wanted everybody to think, but I think she's on the same level as elitist, people as all the Wall Street people.
You mean a Harvard law professor is not one of the common people? Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed, right? But is there anything else I wanted to talk about on this one? Just basically that Robinhood shut down the trading of it, bunch of bullshit. And then we're getting into more crazy stuff about, you know, all the stuff that's surrounding this Wall Street bet. So Discord, so this story from The Verge says, Discord bans our Wall Street Bet server, but new ones have sprung to life. So it was banned following repeated warnings for allowing hate speech. And, oh yeah, it's no coincidence at all that they ban them the week that they activate their fucking, their hedge fund strategy, you know, their short squeeze strategy. You know, like they're trying to play this off as like, oh, we're going to ban them anyway because of hate speech. And it's complete bullshit because we can see how blatantly fucking manipulative the rest of the elites have been, and this is just on the same line as what the rest of those elites are doing. So it's completely bullshit. We know exactly what they're doing. It's completely clear, and for them to try to hide it like this by saying it's hate speech, we know what they're fucking doing. They can't. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. This goes back to the last episode. They think we're stupid, and when you get people that actually know what's going on like us, we can call out this bullshit. So,
well, that's the problem, is if they keep rubbing this sort of thing in our faces, things get very bad pretty quickly.
Mm.
And I don't want a revolution which overthrows the system. We live in a good system. Our system dates back thousands of years, and we shouldn't change it lightly, you know?
No.
America's been built up over centuries. The West has been built up over millennia.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we shouldn't change it lightly.
No.
When you get people dancing around like Vikings in the Capitol, there's a difference between going after the people in charge of the system currently and overthrowing the system, which, here's the thing, that plays into the Klaus Schwab Great Reset people.
Mm-hmm.
They love when people talk about overthrowing the system, and they will use populist language if they think it can get people to accept their sinister agenda. I don't want to change the system. I want to go back essentially to how things were a year ago when America was America, before we were China.
That's all, like, I mean, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't good, but, you know, the economy was doing pretty good. I think, obviously, the culture war was still raging, but there wasn't this, like, we weren't talking about Civil War every day, like we fucking have been for the past year. I mean, actually, I haven't been talking about it, but, you know, commentators that I watch have been talking about a lot, you know, Civil War, civil unrest going on, and it's like this is something that we would have been like, you know, whoa, like we wouldn't have ever been able to foresee shit like this happening back in 2019, you know, like it's gone so far, so fast. And
if Alex Jones had gone on his podcast in January 2020
and said all
that in a year the government's going to close down everything, people will be rioting in the streets, there will be a march on the Capitol. If Alex Jones had said this, it would have sounded crazy even for him.
They would have thrown him, like that would have been the reason they threw him off everything, even though he was already thrown off of everything. But yeah, it's like they're desensitizing us to these just crazy radical changes to our life and society, which, like you're saying, is not good because we are playing with fucking fire. We do not know. Like we take a lot of things for granted in our modern society. We don't understand what it's truly like to live and, you know, produce for yourself, to sustain yourself, you know, from just the fucking, you know, the ground outside. I bet none of us in our modern society know how to do that. But those are the skills that we need to learn, you know, need to know, because when shit hits the fan and none of us know how to do anything, everything's just going to erupt in chaos. And that's exactly what these elites want us to do, is that they want us dependent on them so that when they fail, all of us will be fighting and will be clamoring for another government that's even stronger and more regulatory than the one we have now. That's really their point. They want us to fight amongst each other so it can get them more power. And that's
so don't fall for blaming the system for the people currently in charge of the system.
Yeah.
And if any of those scumbag accelerationists wants a civil war, I encourage you to go to an actual civil war battlefield.
Yeah, go to Ukraine, man. Fucking get lit up by mortars, fucking people dying on the street, fucking little girls fully combat suited up. Just, nobody wants to live it, and people don't understand what it's like. Everybody in America, we've been so disconnected from real life for so long, we have no understanding of how bad it can get. And I think we've said this a couple other times on the podcast too, but we really have no understanding as a society how bad it can really get with the worst ills of human nature. So we have to be very, very cautious for any changes to our system. And it's not perfect.
Yeah.
We always have to strive to be better, but don't, it goes back to the old saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's really what it goes back to. It's just a simple statement of what we need to be trying for. But I, like what Tim Pool says, I think we've crossed a line, and I, like, at this point, I don't see it getting better. I'm going to try to do everything personally to make it better, to make everything calmer and everything, but, just looking at the history, I mean, there's something big that's happening down the pipeline, and, the COVID thing was big enough. The COVID lockdowns, that was the big thing. I think we're going to see something even bigger.
I don't know if it's that simple. We haven't paid the toll fully yet.
No.
There's a bigger price coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a passage, if you've ever read The Red Badge of Courage, there's a passage at the beginning. This young soldier is getting ready for the Battle of Chancellorsville, and he's thinking to himself, in his mind, war was something of the past.
Yeah.
War was something of Napoleon. It was something of Julius Caesar. Mm-hmm. He didn't think war happened to people like him. And that one scared me because that's exactly what I always thought.
Wait, what?
And guess what?
What war was that?
That was the Civil War.
Oh, fuck. That long ago, huh?
Yeah.
Holy shit. People had the normalcy bias back then, too, huh? Holy shit.
And the Civil War wasn't that long ago.
Holy shit.
That remember people who were alive. So this is much more recent in our history than we think. But yeah, you think every generation doesn't think it's going to happen until it happens to them. And once it happens, you are disabused of a great many notions very quickly.
Yep.
When I was road tripping a couple of years ago, I went to a couple of Civil War battlefields. Antietam is really interesting. Damn. Gettysburg is the big one.
Yeah.
Antietam is just a few hours south in Maryland, and that was the bloodiest day of fighting in American history. And there's one cornfield in particular, which was the scene of the worst part of it. It's a beautiful cornfield, beautiful countryside, and when I was in Georgia, I went to a Confederate cemetery, which I'm sure those will all be torn down. But if you look at the dates on the tombstones, it's like 1846 to 1864, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If we get a real war, I think these fucking scumbag accelerationist types who are cheering for it, Littlefinger said that chaos is a ladder. They're going to find that they are not good at climbing the ladder, but maybe Klaus Schwab will be.
They're going to regret it really fast. I think there are some people, I think, that are built for times like that, like very chaotic times, and I think that's how strong leaders come about in very difficult times. So, not to say that everybody's not prepared for it, but most of the population is like, they have no idea like how bad stuff can get. Like, I mean, just take Venezuela. They thought they were living rich, living fucking fancy, and within a couple years they were fucking eating their pets. So if we can stop this snowball before we eat our pets, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, Mr. Petey.
I hope we don't have to eat you.
Did you see the segment with Ashton and Sailor Socialism?
On what?
So Ashton Whitty over at Berkeley, she was with InfoWars, and she went up to this girl dressed as Sailor Moon, and she's like, in Venezuela they're eating rats, and then the girl was like, I just want free healthcare, honey.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was their argument though too. That was Maduro's, or no, that was what was the leader? Cruz's argument. They just wanted universal healthcare, and look what it fucking brought them now.
Chavez.
Yeah. They wanted student loans to be forgiven. They wanted healthcare. They wanted I don't know if they wanted a UBI, but I'm sure they tried to get their people along with that. But you say all these things that sound so good to the masses, and then you start implementing these, and you don't understand, or people don't understand how much power the government needs to implement these things, and on top of that, not just the power, but how incompetent the government is. Even when they get the power to be able to manage these things, they're not going to be good at it. After
Look
everything.
At how well they're handling the vaccine rollout.
Yeah, it's just it's completely insane to think that I don't know. You see all of the ills with government, and you see how bad they work, and how just completely inefficient they work, and you're like, oh, let's put another whole huge sector of society under their belt. doesn't make any sense to me. But it's all worldview opinion. So I'm sure we can have a really good argument. I wanted to get like a good debate going on some of that kind of stuff on a later episode.
We got to have someone who disagrees with us on something substantive.
Yeah. We're gonna get debate start going. I was supposed to have my friend Justin. He's a Bernie guy, but he's definitely more of
He's down to earth.
he knows about stuff that's going on. I wanted to have him on today, but I think it was busy. But yeah, just we need more like perspective. Perspective would be good because I don't want to sound like a biased conservative up here. That's not our goal, is to be all biased. We're just trying to give you guys the info, but I don't know. We went off kind of a tangent there, so let's get back.
I guess I'm a conservative. I've really resisted thinking of myself as a conservative for a very long time. But I guess I don't have a choice now.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have more conservative values than liberal, but I wouldn't consider myself a conservative. I'm a classical liberal for sure. Like that's how I would explain myself. Yeah, but classical liberals today are conservatives. Like everybody would consider them to have conservative values. When they're not conservative values, they're literally liberal values that arose with the liberal revolution, the Enlightenment, basically, the thinkers like John Locke and everything. This is where liberal ideas came from. That's where the word liberal came from. And I think the leftists completely stole it because they don't have any idea of what the word liberal actually means anymore. Because we're real liberals, they are not. But anyways,
that's right.
That's right.
Here's who we should debate with among other people would be somebody who is against liberalism on the right, somebody who's more of a tradcon, sort of Catholic, quasi-fascist.
Oh, yeah, I know a lot of those people. It wouldn't be hard finding some of those people, especially in our old CR days.
But I think that's an argument worth addressing because it's gaining a lot of traction on the right. So I think it's an important discussion to have.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, getting back to the GameStop stuff. So there's another weird article put out by CNN. I think this is an editorial, but it basically saying how Trumpism explains the GameStop stock surge. And basically, I don't want to read this. It's just a bunch of bull crap, basically. I've already read it, but I don't want to read it to you guys. But he makes the argument that because Trump was always about anti-elitism and sticking it to the man, that all of that whole sentiment is now what is driving Wall Street bets to do what they're doing, which is just complete partisan bullshit. I think everybody's on the same page about this shit and wanting to stick it to hedge fund managers, which have been doing the same thing to us for fucking decades, and for just a sick partisan to come out when we're all on the same page about something like this. These are the fucking grifters that are causing the goddamn divide in our society right now. These people that come out when we're all on the same point on an issue and they try to fucking divide us. This is the kind of shit that is dividing us.
He will not divide us. He will not divide us.
When they're dividing us, it's fucking just like CNN is just their scummy fucking news. It's not news. It's fucking editorial.
I think there is some truth to this article. I think the
a little bit. I think there is too.
Well,
I would just see it from the other side. He's afraid of it because he's the one living in Versailles.
Yeah.
I think it's generally a good thing, although potentially a dangerous one. But yeah, the anger that led to Trump is the anger that's leading to this, and it will get worse and worse until somebody listens.
Yeah, but I think they kind of they equate they don't equate the anti-elitism of the right to the left when it's all the same kind of feeling. Like the Occupy Wall Street bros, they're on the same fucking train as all the these Trump Redditor bros. They're on the same side about this, and they're really just trying to split them up. And of course, I think there's elitists also on both sides. Obviously, there's elitist establishment on the Republicans and the Democrat side that are trying to just shut all of this down. And I think they feed and they live off of the division in our country. Obviously that's how the media is thriving, because they get clicks based off all this emotional based coverage. But it's just sad that we can't all come together on just one thing. Like, I think this article was put out, what day? So it's the 28th, literally a day after the big story broke. Like, you're already trying to divide us. Fucking this Chris Cillizza, just a piece of human scum, dude, just human garbage. Fucking bring people together, my dude. Stop fucking dividing people. Just bullshit. But let me preface that with I fully support this guy's right to free speech and his right to say this. I don't think he would have the same opinion about, us on the other side of things, but I fully support his right to say this. So.
Oh yeah. Let's see what other articles. Why Republicans need to take a stand on Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my god, dude! Oh, you're just looking at the other articles that they have up from CNN.
From this brilliant thinker, Chris Kaliza.
He's just you're looking at his stuff. Yeah, he's trash, dude. He's a trash grifter journalist. Part of just the rest of this fucking bullcrap media culture divide, and he's just feeling it. Dog. That's all it's for. He just wants to make money.
Yeah, you're not a journalist anymore. You're just someone writing fucking bullshit.
Yeah, like writing stuff to get people angry at each other, and you're making money off of it. Just scum of the fucking earth. As bad as fucking what's her name, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, same level. Chris, Lori Lightfoot, Gavin Newsom, Andrew Cuomo. They're all on the same level. Just human fucking scum. They want to control people. And it's just sad. These people need to be stripped of their power and fucking
voted out.
Voted out. Just let them fucking talk and spew their bullshit, but don't let them have power, because they fuck everything up basically. But now obviously there are people on the right too that fuck things up. But they're those the obvious fucking ones that really pissed me off during this whole pandemic lockdown. And obviously now with this stock thing going on, they're pulling their same fucking media bullshit. So it's just sad, dude. Sad that we can't.
These people think the world of themselves. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about Cronkite. He was a war reporter, wasn't he? Like, it was the same with Hollywood. Like, the guys, a lot of them were coal miners. They were doing something kind of rough, and they were found, and they went to Hollywood. It's not where you go there as a little kid and you're a child actor and you get psychologically screwed up by being a child actor. The same with the reporters. They did something else and then they became reporters. Like, these people, they live in a world of abstractions. They live in a world of phones where, like, you're connected to this magnificent device that, I mean, it's kind of the cult of the iPhone, I guess, is kind of what motivates these people. It's beyond the iPhone, but it's kind of a symbol of it.
Yeah, well, it's just social media stuff, like that's what's driving it.
It's transhumanism at its, I don't know if I can articulate this very well, but I've been thinking about it for a while, but I think that it's a mix of transhumanism along with the endorsement that they get from being part of a time-tested institution. So they think that they live in a world of abstractions. The CNN people, they've never done anything approaching physical labor, or even had another job besides journalism. They go to school, they do schoolwork, they go to college, then they go immediately to these journalistic institutions, and they think they're very smart. Yeah, they might have been the smartest kid in their class, and they think they're very smart, and they smile to themselves self-satisfiedly as they pen another piece. Tubin was the perfect metaphor.
Oh, Tubin, yeah.
I might have said that before, but jerking himself off and thinking that nobody can see it is the perfect metaphor for what these people are doing.
Oh, God, dude, right? Oh, man, it's just... Oh, what was I going to say about CNN? I think I forgot, but yeah.
I have that effect. I go on forever.
But yeah, they're just grifters, and they're just they think they're smart, like you were saying, and they're disconnected from reality. They do not know what life really is like. But anyways, let's get on to the next one. It's same on the culture war stuff, but also has to do the Wall Street bets stuff. So AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which is a hero of the left, of the progressive wing, rejects Cruz support over Wall Street chaos. You almost had me murdered, she said. Okay, let me just go with the first. article paragraph really quick. So she says, I'm happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago so you can sit this one out. Like, what the fuck are you saying, AOC? You really think Cruz almost had you murdered? You are fucking delusional if you think that. You are so delusional if you think that inflammatory rhetoric, which Cruz didn't even have inflammatory rhetoric, he was pointing out, inconsistencies in voting tallies, in Arizona. And she says that he's trying to murder her. Like, how much more fucking inflammatory and hyperbolic do you have? Like, can you be? Like,
it's completely.
It's completely a lie.
It's not even hyperbolic at that point. It's just
almost had me murdered. Like, how do you? Here, let me just scroll up to that so you guys can actually see what she said. Like what? What, my girl? Like, what is going through your fucking head?
Politics is a rough game. I remember AOC, she gave some speech and then some Republican congressman yelled at her. And then she whined about how it was verbal assault.
Yeah.
This attack on my life has left me scarred and deformed, but my resolve has never been stronger. Like, she gave one of those speeches. I will not shut up, even though this congressman verbally assaulted me.
Yeah.
If you can't handle it, don't be a fucking congressman.
Exactly.
And I think that some of the people, here's the thing, 100 years ago when people didn't want women to vote, the argument was probably that women couldn't handle the heat. If AOC wants to prove them wrong, she's going to need to be able to weather inflammatory rhetoric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, anybody up in
that
Congress.
One's going to get me canceled. But
yeah, later, Jason. You're getting banned. You're getting the Zunk. We do not condone Jason's opinion on this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, AOC, these are unhinged comments, and she does not understand what kind of rhetoric and narrative this is putting out. Like, this is on a whole different level, because Rand Paul made a good point about this, about inflammatory rhetoric. He basically made the argument because at the Congress ball game that happened, back in 2017, I believe, when a Bernie Sanders supporter shot up a couple Republican congressmen, none of the Republicans ever blamed Bernie for what that Bernie supporter did. They all understood that he was an individual going off of individual fucking, motivations. You can't blame a politician for inflammatory rhetoric. Like you blame the individual that does the things. Obviously there's inciting of violence. If you're a big leader, like let's say Trump did say, go down to that Capitol, go break into that Capitol, we're taking it back. That would have been full inciting of violence, and that wouldn't be covered under the First Amendment or free speech. But this is different. This is Cruz going to AOC to try to be bipartisan, try to find some common ground on stuff, and she's saying that he almost had her murdered. So you really can't get more inflammatory than that. If this doesn't paint a bad picture of where we're headed, I don't know what does. Because if you can give your opinion on something that happened in politics, and another person in politics can say that your opinion almost had them killed, like, you're fucking crazy. And that's when we get into a really civil war kind of area. So AOC is directly contributing to any further civil war that we have. Like, this is the rhetoric that leads us right there. And
I'd be careful with that too, but
yeah, well, that's my opinion. But
well, so the thing is, saying that she's contributing to a civil war, it kind of falls into the same trap. I don't want to fall into that, but it's. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Ted Cruz, for whatever else could be said against him for him, he was willing to work in a bipartisan sense, and. So, AOC, Trump compared her to Eva Peron. I think that's the best comparison I've heard. And then she embraced that and started quoting that megalomaniac on Twitter. But she, oh gosh, what was I going to say?
Oh no.
No.
The flying thoughts, dude.
She can't handle the heat. And she... No, I thought of something really good. It's probably gone forever now.
Yeah, I hate that, dude. It happens to me too much.
Flew away
Too
like
much, dude. Just a little bird just away in the thoughts. But yeah, anyways, that's AOC. I think we need to be bringing all of this rhetoric down. I think if there's somebody on the other side of the aisle that wants to work with you on something that you want to work on, fucking do it. You don't say no. You don't do this weird bullshit that she's doing. You work with them and you... Because if you're principled and you want to get these problems solved, then you don't bring up a little bullshit petty stuff like this. Even though it's not petty, it's very serious what she did. But it is on that level of pettiness. Instead of actually working on the issues. This just tells me right here she is not principled at all. She's just a little girl looking for attention, basically.
Seems like
here's
a girl
the
in high
thing
school.
Here's the thing I was going to say. The tweet, I just pulled it up, got nearly 800,000 likes. So, AOC's tweet, "You almost had me murdered."
Oh, yeah.
790,000 likes. And so apparently this is something that Twitter is not a sample of the population, but apparently this is something that a good portion of the population agrees with. And this is what makes me have no faith, because I've been trying to communicate some of these things for a year.
Yeah.
And nobody fucking listens, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I started the podcast, man. We'll slowly get a bigger following here and hopefully get more people paying attention to what's going on, because
it's totally okay for her though to fucking say that someone's gonna fucking murder her and lie about it.
No, just think if Cruz would have said
Twitter,
that about...
Say it's, Twitter or like Trump. Well, Trump's page is gone. He didn't even say anything like that, I think.
Well, it's just the capital rights thing.
On Twitter, at least.
Yeah,
but
it's just
weird. I see AOC's followers as enablers in a sense, because she's this bartender. She's angry, she got a degree. She's fairly intelligent, and her degree doesn't go anywhere. She ends up bartending, and she's angry at the system. And she was elected when she was 2 years older than I am now, and I don't feel ready to be.
No. Yeah.
So people should treat her like she is, which is somebody who's still half a child. The fact that she's been taken seriously is, anybody who does that is doing her as big of a disservice as Justin Bieber fans were doing to Justin Bieber.
Yeah, it's just all propping up opinions that really shouldn't be propped up. I know a lot of people like her because she's progressive, and she's got a lot of shares a lot of their beliefs, and she's spunky. But I'd look at her principles, look at what she did. I think that story just is very indicative and very blatant of what she's trying to do in Congress, and I don't think she's trying to help anybody. I think she's trying to help herself. But let's keep going on here. We only got a couple more links, and then we'll get out of y'all's hair. So basically, keeping on this GameStop thing, just some quick things to go over. So White House put out a statement: you shouldn't be surprised that Janet Yellen is paid by a firm that's in the GameStop stock struggle. So let's just read this first thing here. So White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Thursday that it shouldn't be a surprise that Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen was paid to speak to Wall Street, including a hedge fund involved in the GameStop populist investing struggle. So this just shows you right here, the Biden administration, they're all in line with this all the hedge funders, all the Wall Street, anybody who tries to make you think that Biden is against all this Wall Street stuff and against big money and elites, they're lying to you. They don't know what they're talking about. Because Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, and I think Janet Yellen was something for Obama too, the IRS or something head. But
Fed, wasn't she?
Huh?
She was chair of the Fed, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think so, under Obama. Yeah. So she's been in the game for fucking forever, and she's what all of these people who rag on elitists are fucking always ragging on. It's people like her. They're completely always in the revolving door of fucking government. So it's I don't know how to paint a better picture other than our next fucking link that the Biden administration, they're not for the little guy. They're elitists, and they're only working for the elites. So yeah, I don't know. Would you have anything to add on that, Jason?
Not particularly.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
Biden's new press secretary is pretty bad from the looks of it. If Kayleigh McEnany had been half as bad as she was, then
Jen Psaki,
she
dude.
would have lasted
Is
5
that
minutes.
the circle back?
Yeah, Jen Psaki's a circle back. Oh god, I bet we'll be talking about her a lot over the next 4 years. Unfortunately,
or however long she lasts in that position.
Oh yeah, however long she lasts. Hopefully not long, because she doesn't like answering critical questions. And it's like, like she only likes answering questions if they're about Biden's dogs or his favorite ice cream color or flavor.
What about his medication that he takes?
Yeah, is he running low? Are they gonna circle back on that?
Just kidding.
But anyways, the last link we got here is just going along with this. Wall Street spent over $74 million to back Joe Biden run for president, topping Trump's haul. So he brought in over $74 million from Wall Street. Let's just go down to a little itemized thing of it. So $74 million from a lot of really big investors and Wall Street firms. When Trump only got 20 million, as you guys can see, he got 20 million in 2016, and he got 18 million in 2020. So if you guys think Trump was the Wall Street candidate, y'all were wrong. Biden was the Wall Street candidate. That's very indicative here, because they spent over triple what they did on Trump for Biden. So this is just it's just indicative of Biden is with all the elites and all the corrupt, and this is their game to play, and it's not our game to play.
Damn.
And I think that's why people like Trump, is because he was kind of thrown in there as a sledgehammer to all this, even though he could have been a lot better and done a lot more, and chilled out his rhetoric a lot more. Because I think we would have been in a lot better place if Trump was just Trump on policy rather than Trump, talking shit all day.
If he was more Trump on policy, if anything, he could have gone further with some of the stuff. But getting rid of critical race theory, should have done that day one.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like, I don't know how else to show you guys. Like, Biden is fully in line with all these corporate elites. So I don't know. Did you guys have anything else to add on this, just to wrap it up? All the Wall Street stuff and whatnot.
I've just been hearing about stonks all week, and they're going up
to the moon.
To Mars, apparently.
Yeah. Any closing remarks, Jason, on this stuff?
Well, might shock some people to hear, but I was part of Occupy Wall Street.
Oh, were you?
Well,
oh,
not
shit.
Occupy Wall Street, but I was part of the Occupy movement
in
Orange County when I was a teenager. I was 17, almost 18 when it all got started in like 2011. And it was I don't stand by much of what I believed at the time. I don't think there's anything wrong with the stock market inherently. I don't think capitalism's a bad thing, but it was a very quick shift from hating the 1% to being the 1%, to in 2016 Hillary Clinton bringing out all these celebrities to tell the peasants who to vote for, and how people cannot recognize this shift and cannot recognize that if you were angry at Wall Street in 2011, Biden should not be your guy. Trump should be maybe not your guy, but more your guy than Biden should be. How people don't recognize this, how the Democrats have kept up any veneer of speaking for the common man, is incomprehensible. Although I don't know if they have kept up that good of a veneer.
I don't think so. They're really just relying on the low information voters, on just people who aren't paying attention, in my opinion, and just taking advantage of them. Really, that's why they're trying to get rid of any kind of bar on voter registration or anything. They want as many people as possible to vote, no matter what. Doesn't matter how little information they have. They just want, and that's not a good thing to have. Like, full democracy is not a good thing to strive for. Obviously we're a constitutional republic and we have democratic institutions here, like the prop system in California. But I don't know, as far as democracy goes and majority rule, it's usually a bad thing, and we need to hold up human rights, and our republic really tries to do that. Obviously, hasn't been perfect, but the goal should always be holding up human rights and not what the majority wants to do, because a lot of the times the majority wants to violate human rights, and that's never right, and there's never a cause to violate human rights ever. So, in my opinion, anyways. But anyways, that was our episode on 2021. We're only a month in. We've already seen all this stuff happen. I'm sure it'll only get crazier, and hopefully we don't get zucked, so we can keep talking to you guys about all the developing issues that come up. But we're gonna be trying to get to more just cultural issues, less on politics stuff. Just so we can have some more chill episodes that aren't fully into all this politics and stuff, because I understand a lot of people are probably a little shoot off from that. So we're gonna be having more variety. I know all of our episodes so far have been more politically bent, but we're gonna be diversifying out here. I got Harry working on a music episode right now, so we'll have that one out.
Have some fun
pretty soon. Yeah, we'll have some fun on it. So thank you all for watching. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll get a schedule going soon here, but yeah, thank you once again. And if you guys wanted to quick shout out, like big hairs or whatever, is there anything going on?
More or less, I had a release this last Friday.
Ooh. Cultural.
It's up on SoundCloud. It's like a future country house song.
Got future country.
I was trying to break the boundaries of genres and comfortability of myself. But it turned out really cool, and it's good. Go check it out. It's on all major platforms. Just look up my name.
Yeah. And anything developing with you, Jason, or?
So I might have a new article out soon.
Ooh.
Where in the Hesperian, which is a newspaper which is kind of affiliated with Chapman University. Ooh. So I might have a new article out soon in the Hesperian. I'll leave you guys to be surprised by that one, but it's about my favorite topic.
Oh, how
I wrote.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, my favorite topic of all, and so I wrote another one recently, also in the Hesperian, about Gone with the Wind, and that's a cultural thing, and I analyze the film and the novel in some depth, and I articulate why it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy that serves as an allegory for the American South. Mm-hmm. And Scarlett's love triangle, her romantic conflict, and her eventual rejection by Rhett Butler, I think symbolizes the failure of the American South to find a place in the American story. And I think Democrats who dismiss it as, well, liberal political commentators, I shouldn't say all Democrats, who dismiss it as a one-dimensional racist film, which I think it is, but people who dismiss it out of hand miss the tragic element of it. Mm-hmm. So check that out. It's called Don't Cancel Gone with the Wind, watch it carefully instead. But yeah, that's my current mixtape, I guess.
Dope, dude, bro. We're gonna have to definitely talk about it on one of these episodes here. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll be back. I'll let you guys know when the next episode is. All right, everybody have a good night.
Keep it spicy.
Keep it spicy, dude.